Yo, guys, hey, what's up? It's your boy Kyle here. It's definitely been a few weeks um, since I've done a review of any kind. But just quick update. I moved into my new place. Um, Still unpacking slowly but surely, as you could see. Um, but the bare essentials are unpacked, but still packing. It's been a crazy 3 weeks because that's how long it's been since I've moved. 3 weeks. Um, so yeah, despite all that, despite my lack of content here on YouTube, I've been up to brass with everything else, in terms of what's going on in the wrestling world. So we got to talk about tonight, Raw. Um, this new thing that's coming, not coming, but that was implemented now on Raw, called Wild Card Rules. A little bit of backstory. So, over the weekend, Roman Reigns sent out a tweet saying, like, "Hey, I've got some unfinished business on Raw. You guys will see me. You guys will see me there." Just out of the blue, no reason at all. Roman just sends this tweet. Then we get an official statement tweet from WWE saying Roman Reigns has obligations to SmackDown since he's on that brand now. He will not be on Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns ignored that and sent the following tweet saying, "My music will hit." Excuse me. My music will hit at 8 p.m. So everyone was kind of wondering, like, where is this going? Already, the background, the build up or the background, I should say, for them coming up with this concept is already kind of weak, in my opinion. Raw kicks off with Vince McMahon saying, "Hey, tonight's going to be a Monday Night Raw. You'll never forget. It'll be history making." Paraphrasing here. Before he can even get out what he's going to say, Roman Reigns comes out like he said he would. His music hits. He comes out. Then shortly after, we get Daniel Bryan. And right after Daniel Bryan, we get the WWE champion, Kofi Kingston. And Vince McMahon says, "Hey, this gives me an idea. Every week, I don't know if it's going to be every week or maybe periodically. Don't know how this is going to work. But the idea for this," Vince McMahon says, "is that every week, three wrestlers from SmackDown can come on to Raw and compete, and three wrestlers from Raw can go over to SmackDown to compete." And he calls this wild card rules. My thing for this is, like, when they came up with this idea, were they like playing Uno cards or something? Wild card rules. Already, the um the reaction to this from the internet amongst wrestling fans have been mostly negative. They've been mostly negative. Um, how do I feel about it? I could shit on the concept because concept is kind of weak. I will try to give WWE the benefit of the doubt and them trying to do something different and them just try to do something. I will probably commend them for doing that. However, this wild card concept, it really doesn't make much sense. For a factor, okay, so he says three wrestlers from each brand can come and compete on the opposite show. Well, tonight we got Lars Sullivan, and then we had a backstage segment with Lars and Vince, where Vince was like, instead of three wrestlers, make that four. So now it's going to be four wrestlers from the opposite brand that can come and compete on the opposing show. Seems like he's making this up on the fly as he go. As Raw is airing live, Vince McMahon is just impromptu. He's booking this shit on the fly. Very confusing. doesn't make sense. Um, if you noticed tonight on Raw, there wasn't a lot of segments that involved the women tonight. There was a quick segment. I'm sorry, there was a squash match with Lacey Evans fighting a local talent or whatever. You had the women on the Raw side from Money in the Bank just sitting out there watching, and then you had Becky come out and they had a little scramble and fight. Didn't have a lot of women come out tonight, or a lot of multiple matches or segments involving the women, which some people have been kind of complaining, kind of saying one of the reasons why Raw's ratings have been dropping so low, and the reason why fans are just kind of tuning out, is because WWE are pushing down their throat this women's revolution thing, women's revolution. And, great for the women that they're making history, and WWE are giving them a chance that they wouldn't have gotten 10 years ago. But at its core, WWE is a male driven sport. So the argument there is that, too much of the women, reason why Raw is kind of like dropping. Hold on one second here, guys. Sorry about that. Thought I heard my car alarm go off, but it did. Anyway, so yeah, so as I was saying, so like, I thought that's kind of interesting because the women didn't get a lot of showtime here tonight, and it'd be interesting to see if that happens again for tomorrow on SmackDown. Um, why are WWE doing this? Obvious reasons. It's got to be because of this is their answer to them trying to do something new because the ratings drop. They've been dropping. WWE had they released like their quarterly year finances and whatnot from the quarter of the year, and Raw and SmackDown, both shows, have not been doing very well. I believe Raw saw like a 15% overall drop in audience, in the viewership for the audiences. Just not good. Vince McMahon's excuse to that was that lack of star power, stars being injured, like people like Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, all these guys that were out for a while, is due to why, ratings have been dropping. They can't keep that excuse anymore. They can't. They really can't. That excuse is WWE has been using for like the last like 3 years, and it's like it's getting to that point. They can't rely on that excuse no more. It's the content. It is the content. There is a disconnect between Vince McMahon and the WWE audience. The man is just out of touch. Vince McMahon, I think every once in a while he can come out with a good idea, or he does have a way of swerving fans and getting a reaction out of you. But on a consistent basis, Vince McMahon is out of touch with today's generation of fans. I know he feels like he's probably not, but he is. I love what he did during the Monday Night War era. I love what he did during the Ruthless Aggression era. But in today's climate of wrestling fans today, I don't think he clicks with them. I think wrestling fans today's generation of wrestling fans are kind of fickle, are very fickle and disgruntled to a certain extent. I think they have their own, problems as to why wrestling is just not good, or they're part of the problem, but they're not the whole problem. Some of it also goes in WWE as well. This whole wild card rule concept, to me, I think it's pointless. It's pointless of the superstar shakeup, really, because what's the purpose of Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns being on SmackDown if they can pop up on Raw anytime they want every week? Like, stupid. Um, it's funny that I mentioned that because WrestlingInc.com, see if I can pull it up here. WrestlingInc.com, which is a wrestling news source, they're pretty reputable. One of their lead writers by the name of Raj something, but he was watching Raw tonight, and at the end of it, he spoke and said that he spoke with a Raw superstar. He wouldn't name who it was, but he said that Raw superstar that he spoke with said that this wild card rule concept is something that they are trying to try out. That if it does not pan out well, that within the next 3 months, WWE are going to end the brand split. Like I said, WrestlingInc.com, pretty reputable source. The guy, the author who made the statement on Twitter, he really hasn't been wrong in a lot of his things, his statements. But let's play devil's advocate here. He spoke with a Raw superstar. That superstar shared information with him saying that if this doesn't pan out within 3 months, WWE are going to end the brand split. What's the point of having it? Really, what's the point of having it? I was never a big fan of the brand split. Originally, back in the day, the first brand split was actually kind of good, though. From what I remember years ago, the first brand split wasn't bad. Like the first 2 or 3 years when they did the brand split in like 2002 or 2001, I think rather. It wasn't bad. It was actually good. Then there came a certain point in time, the brand split was kind of pointless. That's when they started doing the Super Raw Super Show type of whole deal, and then they went back to the brand split again, and it's just like this wild card rule completely throws out what the brand split was meant for, and if they go this route, might as well just get rid of it. And WWE right now, like I said, they're not in a good place. No, they're not going out of business. No, they're they're not in the red zone, in terms of ratings or whatnot. Their ratings dropping, but they're not in the red zone. I think they're in a creative slump. They're in a creative slump. I know a lot of people going back. I say this again, going back to it was December of last year when the whole McMahon family came out and said, "Hey, the fans are the authority. We're going to do things different, new matchups, this and that. But it's going to take some time. It's going to take some months." A lot of people were caught up in that speech. Some people weren't, but there were enough people that were caught up into that speech. And I made videos going back to late last year, and where I said I do not believe WWE until WrestleMania season is over, because they can talk a good game and people can say, "Oh, they're finally turning things around." But look at that calendar. WWE are at their best creatively when it's WrestleMania season. From Royal Rumble to Mania, that's where they're at their best. When WrestleMania season is over, that's when they start going back to, status quo. Don't give a fuck. The Raw after WrestleMania sucked. The Superstar shakeup sucked. 2 of the biggest, highly anticipated, shows, not even shows, but weeks, because that shit spills over into SmackDown. So 2 of the biggest weeks, and probably I'd say the most interesting shows of the year for WWE weekly shows, they dropped the ball this year in 2019. They all sucked creatively. Just not a good sign. Then you come here tonight on Raw for this whole wild card rules thing concept. It's like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? Part of it is because, again, like I said, they are in a creative slump. I don't think WWE knows what to do creatively. They're in a creative slump. Other part is, too, they probably want to beef up both rosters so that it looks more appeasing and appetizing for their new partners, Fox, for when SmackDown goes over there in the fall. Now, I don't know how well that would work, considering that Fox wants SmackDown. If you put the Raw guys on SmackDown, kind of somewhat promoting Raw, which is on the USA Network, which for all intents and purposes is a different channel and is a competitor to the Fox Network. So, just saying. But there's one thing here I found interesting. Triple H on Twitter, there's a wrestling fan who tagged Vince McMahon, Stephanie, and Triple H in the Twitter. And this fan, who goes by the name of Richard Gutierrez, he says to at Vince, he says, maybe the problem with Raw and SmackDown ratings isn't due to wrestlers injured. It's that you put confusing and pointless storylines, although it wouldn't hurt if you gave wrestlers insurance. Just a thought, at Stephanie, at Triple H, at WWE. Here's why that tweet, this fan spoke facts here. What he said was true and it was facts. But what makes this tweet interesting was that Triple H liked it. And I'll even show you here. Camera focus. This is Triple H's official Twitter. This is the post the fan wrote. Triple H liked it. Now, what's funny is that this was about 30 minutes, an hour maybe, afterwards, Triple H unliked the tweet. A lot of wrestling fans caught this online. They're screenshotting this and they're saving it. Triple H unliked that tweet. Why that's so important is because Triple H knows that fans are frustrated with WWE. He knows that fans are frustrated with WWE. I'm not I don't know, but I'm sure behind the stage, creative are frustrated. I'm pretty sure. A lot of wrestlers are frustrated with WWE. There'll be a topic for another video that I'll speak on. But there are a lot of wrestlers that are frustrated with WWE. Fans are frustrated with WWE. And to see Triple H like this comment, at first he unliked it, but to see him like it originally lets me know he is in agreement with this fan's thought. He understands. He hears the fans. Fans aren't falling on deaf ears with Triple H. He understands what fans want, and he's listening. Triple H is listening. Only issue is that Triple H's hands are tied, because at the end of the day, Triple H may have a great mind for wrestling. Triple H may have done great things with NXT and the NXT UK brand, and 205 Live has been much better. All these things that Triple H is micromanaging and in charge of might be great. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the big stage, the granddaddy of them all, Monday Night Raw, Tuesday Night SmackDown Live, every pay-per-view from WrestleMania to Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and everything in between, all that shit is filtered through Vince McMahon. The bus stops and goes with Vince McMahon at the end of the day. So, not much Triple H can really pretty much do. I'm pretty sure he can get some suggestions. He may even try to persuade Vince McMahon. But if Vince McMahon is a stubborn old bastard, which he is, and wants to say, like, hey, we're not pushing this guy, we're going to push this guy. Hey, we're not going to go with this concept, we're going to go with this concept. Hey, we're going to rewrite the entire show because this isn't acceptable. They have to do it because it's Vince's show. It's Vince's company. He runs it at the end of the day. But I just found that very interesting. I found it very interesting. You guys let me know what you think about this whole wild card rules concept. What do you think this means for the brand split? For me, it's really not a big deal if it's the end of. I think it's stupid that they have it in place when we have a brand split. Which, by the way, I will say, even the brand split at this point is kind of pointless and stupid because going back, you had wrestlers flip flopping on each brand going back to all the way back to December. I mean, we had Aleister Black and Ricochet and Joey Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa flip flopping from both brands. Then you had, I'm sorry, what's his name? Andrade. Andrade was on Raw, but then they put him back on SmackDown along with Aleister Black, and it's just like WWE don't know what they want to do. They don't. They're in a creative slump. They are. Um, but yeah, you guys let me know what you think about this wild card concept. Would you care if it means the end of the brand split? What do you think about this tweet here? I sent the message that this fan left on Twitter, tagging Vince. I haven't showed it to you again. Shit. Camera focus. Tagging Vince McMahon, Stephanie, and Triple H. And Triple H liking the tweet. What do you guys think about that? I want to hear your thoughts in the box below. Comment, subscribe. Peace out.